Hi, MadzookJoe here. I want to talk to you a little bit. Our four-pillar philosophy with Madzook is martial, cognitive, spiritual, and physical. We believe that within these four pillars of personal development that you'll achieve the actualization that you're looking for, and not just for survivability, but we're looking for proficiency above sufficiency. Okay, that's our underlying philosophy, our theme. And we believe that within the four pillars, if we maximize development within these four pillars, that you will achieve a maximum holistic development. Okay? We do believe in healing processes. We do believe in training processes. We do believe in intellectual processes. Within these four pillars, you'll find various avenues and stems, or really alleyways or pathways that we veer off into as well in our individualized training and in our written instruments. Okay, so with that said, we focused a little bit on the cognitive here lately, and so I want to kind of get back into a little bit of the martial. So the martial, understand something, fighting, martial, depicts fighting, right? So fighting is physical, but it's also non-physical. You have to establish your position in life, and you have to make a determination inside that you're going to go after what you want in life. So sometimes the opponent may be yourself, sometimes the opponent may be the world, sometimes it may be one or multiple physical attackers in any kind of physical altercation situation. So I've been in over 1,000 physical altercations in my lifetime, been stabbed, been hit with a whiskey bottle, hit with that. Many things have happened. So I have plenty of experience in this realm. I know fighters all around the world. I know fight trainers all around the world. I've worked in nightclubs. I've worked as a bodyguard for celebrities, and I have worked on executive production details, both domestic and foreign. Okay. So with that said, it brings me to a little bit of a conversation that I was having with a buddy of mine. He's a fight trainer, experienced martial artist. And he is a 15-year police officer, and he trains one of the major metropolitan police forces in the United States. He's been a fight trainer for the Indianapolis Police Department for several years and on multiple occasions. He's a recognized defensive tactic expert. And he had contacted me the other day and said, Joe, I've had these many conversations, and he understands that I start to focus more on the cerebral aspect of defense now than just the physical aspect. And he says to me, I have a question for you. He says, sometimes people, I teach them the basic stuff because it's easy for them to learn. Therefore, it's easy for them to practice and easy for them to use. Because there's many advanced moves, and, you all watch ninja movies and kung fu theater, and, all these things, and you see all these great moves and feats, and, Sherlock Holmes, he knows exactly where to hit you to cause this system to shut down that system and to do all. It's possible, but it takes years and years and years of experience. You have to seek the knowledge to do it, and you have to fail many times trying it. And then you have to continue to practice it. Well, what we found mostly in self-defense courses is everyone knows they need it, but then you tell them, and a lot of times you get this standard answer, oh, my boyfriend's cousin is an MMA fighter, and he showed me how to choke a dog, or I'll use the keys and hit them, or, I'll just kick them in the balls, or, I'll punch them in the face if they try to mess with me, all 105 pounds of you, right? So what I used to do, when I have people come up in self-defense courses I would teach to women, and I would ask that question, what is the first thing that you're going to do? And inevitably, one of those answers would come up. So I used to take them and bring them up to the front of the room, and I would give them, 30 seconds, a minute, to go ahead and do what they said they were going to do, right? And they were like, well, you're going to stop me. No, I'm not going to touch you. And so they would try, I would move, I would dodge, right? Or I would just stand so close to them in an intimidating manner that they would freeze. They literally would freeze and not want to do it. And I'd say, do you think I'm going to hurt you? And they would say, no. I'd say, okay, then why aren't you doing what you said you would do, right? And so they're like, well, I don't want to hurt you. Oh, okay. So a lot of times I'll just let them go ahead and take a shot and hit me, and most of the times it ended up in some laughter and their hand bouncing off of me, and some things happening, and them saying, ow, oh my God, and I smile, excuse me, and I'd laugh at them and I'd say, so now what do you think's going to happen when the bad guy is actually trying to hurt you? You know? And so they would look at me and be like, oh. So the point isn't that I'm Superman. The point is that if you're going to learn skills to take care of yourself in self-defense, what good does it do us as instructors to teach you these skills if you're just going to go to the class, well, yeah, that's what I'll do the next time, and then you never practice it or never do it. And somebody comes up to you and says, boom, and all of a sudden you go, oh no, I'm gonna poop my pants, you know? So, I mean, that's not gonna help you. So my buddy asked me, so he has this theory, and he says, my theory is this: I'm thinking about getting away from just teaching the basics. I'm just gonna offer a really advanced class. And you know, the people that really want to learn how to protect themselves, well, they'll come and learn how to protect themselves, you know? And the other ones, you know, what can we do for them, Joe? How can we save them, you know? I said, well, you know, my friend's name is Jeff. I said, well, you know, Jeff, I have philosophy. And my philosophy is we're not going to save them all, buddy, right? So he's very familiar with that, and he shares that ideology as well, I'm sure. But as we've had many conversations about this. Well, so I want to point this out to you. Self-defense means more than just being able to kick somebody's ass or being able to not get your ass kicked, all right? Basically, your mind. You need to defend your mind. Read more. You know, protect your neurological functions, right? Train your amygdala. You know, train your vagus nerve, right? So these things are physical functionality processes that will enable you to take care of some of the physical training that you'll need to become better at martial protection. All right, so we talked a little bit about cognitive distortions on the blog, and we put up some Instagram videos and such about cognitive distortions. And one of the big cognitive distortions that causes a negative perpetual loop in our thinking that kind of clouds the day, and gives you what I like to call a case of the black ass, you know, makes you just all down all day, right? You just, everything's dark and gloomy and you're down, okay? Well, for that to take place, there's what we call a magnifying, excuse me, something down the wrong pipe there, sorry guys. I don't script anything here, so we're live, so you just give me warts and all, right? All right, so it's magnifying a catastrophe, all right? So if you magnify the catastrophe, you're the chicken little sky is falling, oh my God, what if this happens, what if that happens kind of person. And you just start to live in that realm. You just get in this loop of all these bad things and they happen. So I start to look at all the bad possibilities in the world. Okay, how do I explain to you with clarity that I'm about to make a switch in paradigms here? All right, understand this. Mind mapping and preparation isn't dwelling in the negative. It's positioning yourself for a positive that allows you to face something because you know you're capable of handling it. So I'm not walking around in the negative loop, oh my God, what if this bad thing happens to me? I'm saying if this bad thing happens to me, I'm taking step A, B, and C, and I'm making sure that I control what happens next, all right? So it's a positive framing, but the exercise is completely different than eliminating cognitive distortion. Eliminating cognitive distortion is in the cognitive realm, and you're going to sit there and reframe and do things that make you start to look at stuff in a more positive manner. Mind mapping and preparation through situational training is something that you can do to help your martial mindset. All right, so situational training can happen anywhere. I'm currently out of the USA. I'm in the country of Thailand. Thailand's a great country. I love it. First thing happened when I came over here, the first trip where I announced to people I was coming, they would ask me and my wife, oh my God, aren't you worried? Aren't you scared? I said, man, you haven't driven through Chicago once? You know, I'm more worried about driving through Chicago than I am to go to Thailand. You know what I mean? And the people are great here, it's nice and all that. Well, if you don't know, you don't know, right? So I'm going to take you on a tour around the mall here in Thailand and just show you how spooky scary the place is, right? And shivers, you know. You'll find a good chuckle and you'll laugh and you'll say, man, those are some of the most beautiful, friendliest people in the world. True. All right, so what's the point of that exercise? Well, the point is this. We're mind mapping a location. I'm looking for certain things in that location. I'm looking for exits. I'm looking for allies. I'm looking for potential pitfalls. I'm looking for possible safety hiding places. I'm looking for, potential that I could use for an improvised weapon should the case come up. So all these things I'm looking for, I do by mind mapping. So I'm going to be here for 6 months in this location. So what about the place you work that you've been at for 2 years or 3 years? Do you know where all your hallways lead to? Do you know who's in Unit 101C because you're in Unit 1017A, right? Okay, what's their name? Are they arguing with their wife? Were they thinking about becoming one of these active shooters? How do you know? What religion do they practice, right? Are their kids great? Anything suffering going on from them? You hear loud noises, right? What about the Vegas shooter, right? Everyone, oh my God, he was never even giving us a signal. Oh, well, something caused him to snap, didn't it? Right? So be prepared, be aware, be mindful, right? Now, that's going to give you a chance. It's definitely not going to be a cure-all, end-all. But every place that I enter, and every time that I enter, specifically if I'm going to dwell there habitually, I will mind map the place. I will situationally train for the what-ifs. Not cognitive distortions, oh my God, the sky's falling. But I will situationally train, what if a person was to approach from that corridor? What would I do, right? I don't just say, oh my God, what if someone approached and I'm scared? I say, what if someone would approach me from this corridor? How would I counter them? What are my options? Where would I go? So I take it further and I take the actionable step that I would need to make sure that I ensure my safety. And this is a martial exercise, guys. This is true self-defense. All right, I can stand here all day long, show you what a jab is, tell you hit somebody in the throat, poke them in the eye, stomp on their toes, blah, 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 hit them with the keys, which that don't work, by the way. I mean, it could, but, I'd try it last, if that was my options. Point being this, right? I can tell you all these simple things to do, and if you don't do them, then you're not going to be training yourself for self-defense. So what is the point, right? My suggestion would be buy a gun if you live in the USA, right? Okay, do what you're going to do. You're going to have a willingness to engage, but more importantly, you're going to have a willingness to train yourself in a martial mindset. You are going to have to learn to create space, find barriers, identify potential threats. These things take no physical action whatsoever. You don't have to be Superman to do these things. And by any one of these little constructs that you can add to your arsenal, each one increases your chances for safety. All right? So, we'll take a walk around here. MadzookJoe and I are having a little glass of water. Started this video. We're going to take a walk around the mall, and I'll show you some things I look at and look for, and it'll double duty because you get to see just how horribly scary Thailand is. No, said that with a joke because it's a beautiful place, beautiful mall. There's not any trouble here, but it's the ones that think it can't happen to them that usually are most shocked when it does happen to them, right? And it can happen anywhere. Now here, we're in a foreign country full of tourists, right? So they could be anywhere from any place. You don't know what's going on with them, just like you don't know what John in 101C's office complex is going on, right? Same principle, right? I'm going to try to deduce anomalies as I look through people. So, my friend Sherlock Holmes, all right. He's big on, subjective reasoning, right? But he does it by observational behaviors. He does it by human observation, location observation. And if you watch things like Sherlock Holmes, and you go, well, Joe, that's a show. Yeah, but the practice isn't, right? He sits there and deduces immediately things are out of place, why they're out of place. All right, let me tell you something else. Our U.S. intelligence services and intelligence services around the world do exactly that. All right, some of our most fierce warriors, male, female, hidden, or in plain sight, are conducting these same exercises. And they're doing them at a much higher level. But you have the capacity to learn the basics and expand to the higher level. This is a higher level exercise that you can basically learn to do in every dwelling that you enter, and specifically your own home, your own car, the roads that you drive habitually and daily, where you go shopping, where you work, where your kids go to school, right? Oh, there's a good one. Probably a good idea to know about the systems that your school has, right? When's the last time? Did you go to the school board meeting when they talked about the new safety measures they were going to put in place? Do you know about the double locking doors? Do you know their protocol? What is it that you know other than, oh my God, I can't believe it happened here, right? And then panic sets in. Prevent the panic, right? So Maslow has this pyramid, and part of the bottom of the pyramid, right, for self-actualization, which is at the top of the pyramid, is physiological safety, right? So a basic psychological concept of functionality is to have a mindset of physical safety. That comes from a martial mindset and practicing self-defense measures. All right, so stick with us, have a transition here, and we will come back and start to walk around the mall. Okay, so we're on the top floor of Phuket Central Mall. It's a very nice, big, brand new mall built in the center of Phuket. So Central is kind of like in the USA, I would say, probably like Macy's or,
the Simon Mall.
Say again?
The Simon.
Yeah, like a Simon Mall. Central is the people, the group that owns and develops the mall. But they also are the department store, right? Mm-hmm. So it's an upper end department store. No knockoffs here. So you got real Adidas, Nike, Reebok, top name stuff, and good clothing. All right, as we're walking through, you'll notice there's a bar. So, as I notice that there's a bar, a couple things come to my mind, right? Number one, at some point in time during the day, there could be people here that are inebriated or drinking alcohol, all right? So, what's my evidence? Gee, case in point number one. Ding, 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 right? Okay, so, what does also come from that? I have improvised weapons there, all right? Because, I can always use one of those bottles. I can always use one of those steak knives, right? Okay? So as I know that there's restaurants around, I know that there's bottles, I know that there's steak knives, right? If there's a fire, there's a fire hose. But what if I just need that fire hydrant to use to stop maybe an active shooter? There's a big program in the US, it's called Run, Hide, Fight, right? That's their big program. And then most of the schools in the US have this ALICE protocol, which involves going into these areas and basically it tells you try to run and hide and then if you have to, fight. So I'm a big fan of that. I think that's a good idea specifically for a lot of people. But, I'm also one of those guys that I'm probably going to head into it more than I'm going to run from it. But, with that said, I'm gonna look for my best opportunity. I'm not just going to run at the bullet, right? Okay. And I'm certainly not going to run at a group of 4 or 5 people, especially without something in my hand to help me, right? All right. But on the same token, I'm not going to sit there and watch some woman getting beat up or raped or, whatever the case may be that you see. And you see it here. You hear it in the States. I mean, I don't ever hear about it in Thailand, but you hear about it in the States. Specifically in Europe, we meet a lot of people here from Germany, and they tell us that because of that whole refugee problem going on up there, look, first of all, when I say something, I say it from reality. I'm not saying it from some political correct, nonsense, and I'm just not going to do that. That's never been me, never going to be me. Right, so you take it what you will. I'm going to speak the truth. You don't like it, don't listen. All right, so the Muslims that are coming into the country that are raping the women, right? Now, did I say all Muslims are bad? No, that's not what I said. If that's what you heard, get off this channel and go find somebody else to bother. All right? Because I'm not talking to you, right? All right, so when they come into this country, I talk to the German women here all the time. They're scared because they're getting raped. They're getting beat up. They can't go out of their own house in their own country, right? So they're worried about that. Half of them come here and stay for 6 months to get away from that, right? Okay, so when you meet people like that and you hear things, pay attention, because that tells you, A, the truth that the news probably isn't going to tell you, and B, what to watch out for if you go into these countries, all right? So, with that said, there's tons of great Muslim people here that I've never seen ever have a problem, and I've never seen them beat a girl up. But I talk to Germans, I talk to Swiss, I talk to the Swedes. They come here all the time and they say that they're having these problems in Europe. So, as there's much more dangerous countries out there than Thailand is, the principle is the same, specifically if you're traveling, right? That you want to make sure that you're knowledgeable about what's going on. And sometimes the best thing you can do for that is, just be nice. People want to answer your questions for you, right? So, hello, how are you? And you would be surprised at just how many doors kindness opens for you. And maybe, I say you'd be surprised. Some of you probably won't be surprised, right? But some of you will. And you know who you are. You walk around with a chip on your shoulder, your chest swelled up, and beat like Tarzan. And you wonder why everyone kind of has that same response back to you, right? But if you look here, you'll see just a couple of people playing, having fun. You know what I mean? Looks like they're getting ready for a place to take place. A lot of selfies here probably being taken, right? So we're on the top level, and there just doesn't seem to be too many people here. So what you've seen is restaurants. Here's another improvised weapon, the hot pot. Boiling hot water, right? So make sure that you know where these things are. Kitchens have walk-in coolers. If there's issues for that, you can see that there's water tanks and water hoses. So if there happens to be a fire and you're stuck and you don't want to try to run downstairs and get to a side top.
Need a course.
Looks good, huh? But I'm not hungry. No, I don't eat. Oh, yeah. Good one. So how this works is the hot pots. You see the boiling pots on the plate, and when you order the food. And they can fry it, cook it, or you can set it in the boiling pot, and then you just take it out of the pot and eat it. It's really good food, good way to go. We're not hungry, but we'll come back later, okay? Thank you. Sabay, sabay. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to look for some stairs. We'll go around here and try to find some stairs and
Set it up.
take you to a different location, see if we can find some more things to point out to you. Alright, so as I said, some of the things I'll look for is, potential allies, potential improvised weapons. But the other thing, if you remember I said, was exits, knowing where your exits are. Now you need to know where those exits go if you're going to dwell there. If you're just there for the day, or, it's something like, I don't know, maybe you go to the symphony or something that night, well, you kind of want to know where the exits are, but you don't really need to go investigate where they're going to go, right? Use some common sense when I tell you this. If it's a place you dwell, you better know exactly where they're going. So up here, we're on the 5th floor of this mall. So an exit, where you're going to go, right? So you go out an exit here, you go into the parking garage, right? So the parking garage would be great. Now, if there was a fire or something along those lines, some kind of symbol or signal to tell you there's some kind of catastrophe that you need to leave, right? Well, just know the exit, right? Okay? Because if you're going to go to the elevator and there's a fire and the elevators are shut down, then you're going to have to take the escalators. Well, where are they? Okay, so know where those are. And if I can see the fire, and I know I'm not going that way, and I know I can't take the elevator, but I can go right out there into the parking garage, right? All right, so think about where you're going to go. Think about what it offers for you. And this is the mind mapping. Just take a little walk around the places that you go and figure all that out. All right, so this is a high vantage point. Something else I would look for in different places. If I'm in an office building every day, I'm going to go to the high vantage points, and I'm going to look and see what I see on those high vantage points. And I'll take 6, 7, 8 months to investigate and explore all those vantage points. I won't go there once and just look out the window and go, oh yeah, cool, I saw something. I'm going to go there and I'm going to look, and I'm going to see, like, from here. Let's watch for a minute. So we'll look down here. I can see these 2 girls that work in this store, right? They have no idea that someone's watching them. They're sitting there having their conversation. They look outside, right? And yet, we're just kind of just hanging here, and they're just hanging there, right? So I can see that, they're just employees. Neither one of them are having really big stress at life, no problems. Remember the Sherlock Holmes plan, right? You know, so if this was my office, I could sit here and look at that. All right, so let's say I've done this for 5 or 6 days, okay? And all of a sudden on the 7th day, one of them is upset, distraught, crying, or talking to the other one, or the two are arguing or something, you know, then I know that there's a little bit of a flag, a signal there that, you know, it can just code into my neurological function to say, hey, you know, it may be something that, you know, I want to go and say, hey, you know, everything okay? It's an anomaly, or it may be something that I just want to be mindful of. That's something that is very situational. For me to try to explain all that to you on a YouTube video is, you know, not only irresponsible and unethical, but, you know, completely too shallow for the depth of you and me, all right? So the basic version, you can pay attention to people, watch what their normal actions and behaviors are, right? Watch what they do when they're sitting there and they're just paying attention, right? So at some point, like I may sit here for 5 minutes just to see if that person ever decides to look up or if I catch their attention, right? And then once I've caught her attention, what does she do when there's a person just sitting there looking at her, right? Does she mindfully pay attention to it? Does she turn and run away? Does she engage? You know, what are the actions of the human reactions? By knowing that, I start to build a deck, a repertoire, a true multicultural understanding of how just every kind of human in the world starts to respond to specific stimulus. And as I start to process all this stuff and I put it into my repertoire, into my mind maps, I could see if someone has an anomaly. Recognitions of anomalies start to give you indicators that there could be something you need to pay greater attention to. All right? Okay, so we're from our perch here, and we've introduced you some human behavior, some exit stuff. Let's take a walk down, and we'll see if we can't find some other human behavior highlights to point out to you. All right? Wise idea. In Thailand, you know, they actually have the fire extinguisher out here where someone could get to it if there was a fire and use it. Right? Also keep in mind, great for an improvised weapon, but perfect for, you know, if there's a fire. So in the US, they got them locked up. They're way down the end of the hall. You can't even get to them, right? So here, common sense, if you need one, you run right up here and you have it, right? Okay? All right, so here we go down the escalator. So now we're on the 3rd floor. We start on the 4th, working our way down to the 3rd and to the other floors. So like I said, you have to really pay attention to the non-ties. You know, good idea to do anyway, though. Especially if it's an aggressive lot, you know. Hello, excuse me. So, you know, so let me just start out by saying, as an American, you know, many Americans are an aggressive person. So I'm going to be mindful of the other Americans that are here. All right? The British, they're a super aggressive lot. The Australians, they're an aggressive lot. And of course, you know, the Middle Eastern guys, they're an aggressive lot. And of course, the Russians, you know, they're a really aggressive lot. But the Chinese are super aggressive too. They just have more of a passive aggressiveness about them, right? They'll line up 10 deep and walk and, you know, expect you to move, you know. So you got to kind of learn the cultures. You got to kind of learn what is a threatening posture and what's just a barking dog type of posture, you know, and why they happen to have these going on, right? All right, so look around, let's see, nice new mall. You notice that they do have the carts driving around here, so if you had some kind of a medical emergency, something along those lines, remember self-defense doesn't always have to be about a fight, right, or a physical altercation. So something happened, you know, whatever, heart attack, any kind of thing like that. Mostly in America and some other places, you have artificial defibrillators, AEDs, and you can find those. I haven't seen one of those here yet, but we're not completely done here, of course, yet. And I would say that you have a good indication that there's workers here. Everybody has a cell phone. There's Wi-Fi everywhere, you know, so you can easily get a SIM card when you come to Thailand. Put your SIM card in your phone. You have instant Thai. There's a number that you can call for a tourist police and for a non-emergency question line too. Of course, I don't happen to have that number memorized. I've programmed into the phone. I'll have to get it to you another time. But you can program it into your phone where your emergency button on your phone is. In the US, if you have an iPhone, you can totally use your emergency button and hit your emergency contact. It'll call who you need to call, right? Okay, so keep those things in mind, right? Let me hold that water for you. All right, all right. So here we are again at another potential. We're gonna perch, so we're gonna look. See, it goes this depth. So there's exits under here. I don't know if you noticed, but there was an exit with a walkway that took you across to a whole nother area. So you can get across that walkway. And then now keep in mind on the run, hide, fight, knowing where the areas are is great. You've got a lot of good hiding spots here. But would you rather hide here in the misty minks around the lingerie and the dresses? Or would you rather run upstairs and hide out in one of the restaurants where you had knives, hot pots, you know, bottles of booze? You have improvised weapons, right? Okay,
You
so
can use a bra for a weapon.
yeah, MadzookJoe says you can use her bra for a weapon. She shoots me in the head with it all the time. So no, just kidding. All right, all right. We told you we were going to entertain you, so you can laugh with us or at us. We don't care. Just laugh. All right. So hello, Sawadee Kap. Sawadee Kap. All right. So say hello to everyone like you're running for mayor, you know, and who knows, maybe they'll vote for you in the next election as a write-in.
She's up.
Lots of good stories here. Really nice. Not much to worry about situational danger here. The energy in the room is very low, very nice vibe, very positive. But like I say, honestly, I gotta tell you that the entire country of Thailand is like that, if you ask me. I mean, there are some places that aren't really, you know, that way. But, you know, so you got Reebok, Adidas, you got a Ducati store, you got the Nike store, all those are right here. Yeah.
Top on Top Show.
Head down to the next level. Now keep in mind, these levels go a long way. Hello. These levels go a long way. We're just improvising, walking a few of the level ways here for purposes of our YouTube video. Who knows, maybe we'll take you on a YouTube video and tour the Central Phuket Mall for you. Stop and interview some people along the way, you never know. That's not the purpose of today's venture. Today was to talk about self-defense, about situational awareness, about mind mapping, about knowing what's going on around you. I think some of you, when you saw us walk down Patong, or down in Patong, walk down Bangla Road, situational awareness is a little more advanced there. I'll be cutting people off, shielding with my body, you know, protecting our position. Here, you know, I can feel the vibe of the heartbeat from all the way across the room. I can pretty much know. As I said, you start to spot behaviors and dangers, and it's a very low level threat assessment here. So, knowing what I know about Thailand, knowing what I know about this mall, and knowing what I know about the people around, I can really tell that, you know, like I said, this is a very easy place to do this, you know. Perhaps taking you into a more viable place where you need to search the threat levels that are a little higher. Might be something we look into a different day. We don't script any of our videos, so decided to do this video today on our way here, and thought that it would be best to talk about that. So as you can see, when you're looking for perches, you can look right up here at the security guard right up on the top. He was just standing on a perch, looking around, looking down. He's doing the same thing I just mentioned to you. He's just watching people and looking for any anomalies and seeing if there's anything out of the ordinary. You know, you look at something so much throughout the day, and you become complacent. So if you're not training your mind to look for specific opportunities for anomaly, then you could miss things in your complacency, right? So these statues are all over the place in Thailand, and they've got them everywhere from Captain America to Iron Man to this guy's got 10 limbs and a weapon in each limb, man. I mean, that's a formidable opponent right there. That's somebody that I would definitely like to have on my side, right? You know? And then if you see, looks like he's got I don't know if that's a combatant or a partner in crime taking place there, right? Whatever it is, he's about to get wolf. And pay attention always to your surroundings. If you just start to scan from here, you'll see there's some locals, you'll see there's some Europeans, you'll see there's some Russians, you'll see there's some people from the Middle East, and you'll see that there's some people from China, right? And so all of them have walked through. Everyone has a different feeling and a different culture, you know, so when you're traveling, you know, be mindful of that. When you're at home, you know, you got to be mindful of it too, because you just don't know what, hello, you just don't know what enters your environment. So better to smile and say hello and get an engagement than it is to, you know, be on the defensive, right? Big self-defense tip. Be more open, but know that you have a boundary, right? So, you know I don't need to express to someone else. I'm not a cobra. I don't need to puff up like a cobra, right? You know, because I know the venom that I possess, right? I know what I would do, what I need to do, you know, all those kinds of things. And so it's a good thing to know, right? Nothing better than a fresh coconut water. It's awesome, right? You know, I used to hate coconut. Hate's a strong word. I'll try to eliminate that from my vocabulary. Practice a little bit more neuro-linguistic programming with you. Hello. How are you? Sawadee Khop. Sabai Sabai. Sabai. Where's that one? Oh, bubble. So, if our daughter Jessica is watching this, there's a bubble matcha latte. And I'm sure that you would like those. We'll get one for you and tell you what it tastes like. How's that? Now we're down in the food court area, so again, it's not very crowded, so you know the point and the takeaway I hope you're getting from this is that one, you're going to see a great place, and two, as far as the self-defense mandates go, that you're understanding that your situational awareness is the most important thing. So, hey, sweet already. That's sweet already. I'm not sweet. So, everybody has a joke every now and then, right? Look at this pancake corner from the coffee club. They make incredible pancakes over here, little bitty thin ones, and they fill them with all kinds of good stuff. You know, hello. Fill them with all kinds of good stuff. Here you go, some Pizza Hut action. How's that? All right. Sawadee Khop.
I think it's so.
We went this way, huh?
No, I think you leave people don't keep right.
Yeah.
I think it's so I say.
Okay. Were we swimming?
Yeah.
What were we doing? Swimming?
Yeah.
Yeah. You live in kind of feet.
I have What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I have some water. Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah. I have one later. Thank you.
Bye.
What's your name?
Bina.
No. Nice to meet you. Cool. Everybody's smiling. So apparently she lives in one of the condos that we stayed at before. Great point. There's some observational behavior, because obviously she saw a foreigner and she looked and said, oh, that guy's big, I better know where he's at and what he's doing, right? So, wait, it probably wasn't me she recognized. She probably recognized the beauty of MadzookJoe, right? That was what it was.
Central Food Hall.
Central Food Hall. Give me some meat. Yeah, so, you know, sorry that this extra dangerous place that they call Thailand, you know, that everybody's worried about. I couldn't give you more advanced self-defense tips, but, you know, sometimes the threat assessment is low. It doesn't mean don't make it. It just means accept it when it's low so that you know when it changes and it's different, right? So you can go from there. Sawadee Khop. Yeah.
We're done?
Yep, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll bring you plenty more self-defense tips, martial tips, and keep looking on MadZook. Hit the About Us, scroll down to the blog, hit the blog, We'll put some good stuff on there, so you never know. You never know where you're going to find the good stuff, where you're not. Hit subscribe. All right. Thank you.